Abeba behind us, and we are venturing out to the next adventure in the south of Ethiopia, to the Omo Valley, where many different ethical tribes live. Ever heard of a place where time seemingly stands still, where ancient tribes and traditions flourish amidst breathtaking nature? Buckle up, guys, because we are exploring the mesmerizing Omo Valley. From vibrant tribal cultures to the meandering Omo River, get ready to witness a world rarely seen. There are over 10 distinctively different tribes existing in the Omo Valley. And we visit not only 6 of them, but also eyewitnessed very unique celebrations like the ball jumping or the Fat Bodi Man celebration. The Omo Valley is a breathtaking remote area in the south of Ethiopia, and life is all about and with the Omo River. To visit these remote tribes, you definitely need a 4-wheel drive car and sometimes walk for hours through the bush to find them. Alright, let's start with one of the most famous tribes of the Omo Valley, the Mursi. We arrived now in the village of the Mursi people, and in here you can see a beautiful lady and her child. One of the most striking and globally recognized culture practices of the Mursi women is wearing large clay or wooden plates on their lower lips. This is seen as a symbol of beauty and maturity. Girls typically have their lips pierced at around 15 or 16. And progressively larger plates are inserted to stretch the lip over time. Beyond the lip plates, the Mursi are known for their incarnate body scarifications, considered marks of beauty and bravery. Both men and women partake in this practice. The Mursi are nomadic and migrate with water and grass for their cattle to live from agriculture. The Omo River plays a role in their daily lives. We were very lucky the day we came. We heard last minute there's a special ceremony, a stick fight, which we will join now. Mursi men are famous for their stick fighting ceremonies. This ritualistic duel is a form of martial arts where 2 men, often from rival clans, combat using long poles. The winner gains respect and admiration in the community, and it can also enhance his standing when seeking a bride. Our next tribe is a very special and one of the most remote tribes in the Omo Valley. So the journey was quite long and the village was difficult to find. But we heard of a very special ceremony we wanted to witness. So we were searching for the village it takes place. It took us hours to get there. Ultimately, however, we found a checkpoint with a Bodi officer who knew where the ceremony was taking place. He quickly organized someone to take us to the village and managed someone to look after the vehicles. Of course, we had to pay twice here as well. We are now on our way to a Bodi Tribe village. It was a 5 hours long drive from Jinka, deep inside the Omo Valley, until we couldn't drive any further, and now we have to walk for about 2 hours through the bush to reach the village, and they are walking pretty fast. When we ask how long we walked to the village, the Bodi officer only pointed to the horizon and the sun's position, saying until the sun is there. Our guide interpreted that we would walk for an hour or 2, but the good news was that the sun would not have set by then. So after walking 1.5 hours through the blazing sun and heat, we arrived at this very special village, and today, only once a year, they have a very special ceremony. And during this ceremony, the fattest belly will be chosen, and he is the winner of this year's ceremony and can choose a wife, and has the for the whole village, he's the best person for the whole year. So I will show it to you. The fat belly ceremony is celebrated once a year, and it's celebrated in June during the New Year. So you might wonder, how are they able to get such big bellies? It's because they drink only cow's blood and cow's milk for 6 months, and they don't move. And today is the first day they move, and today is also the day when they choose the fattest belly of all. The women of the village provide them with the drinks all around. Since it's hot, the mixture has to be drunk quickly before it tips over. And you drink about 2 liters at a time. Not everybody can handle it and throws up quickly. After about 6 months, the ceremony is where all the fat Bodi men come out of their huts and meet at the sacred tree. So the sacred ceremony is taking place at this sacred tree. So everybody is singing, dancing, chanting, and they walk away from the tree and they come back from the tree. So all is happening around this tree. There's a lot of dancing where also other men of the tribe participate. The whole thing is very exhausting for the fat Bodi men who haven't moved their bodies in months. Again and again, a break is made, during which more blood and milk are drunk. The thickest Bodi man will be selected and awarded at some point. So now let's decide who has the biggest belly of this year. There is nothing to be won but the glory of the tribe for a lifetime. And the winner has first choice in finding a wife and then get married. The family is named, they fed him well afterwards. So we are now on our way back to the truck. We only had like a very short time in the village, unfortunately, but we have to walk back 1.5 to 2 hours, and it's not safe around here, so we shouldn't walk when it's getting dark. That's why we move. No? Our policeman, whom you must take with you, strongly advised us to run back before it gets dark, because it gets dangerous when the tribe is drunk and we walk around in the dark. This day was probably the most authentic and extraordinary tribe visit we had. Back on the road, we are heading this time to Kayafia, Demeka and then Turmi, home of the Hamar and Banna tribe. The Hamar and Banna tribes are very similar to each other. They speak a similar language and they have similar customs and cultures. Both love their cattle, and both perform a unique tradition, the bull jumping ceremony, where a boy has to jump back over a row of bulls to become a man. So we are now on the way to a bull jumping ceremony here in the Omo Valley. We were driving with the truck as close as possible, then leaving it behind and walking the rest to the village, where we first met the king of the tribe. So we are now inside the village, and there is 2 parts. Tonight there is a ceremony with the whipping of the women, and tomorrow is the bull jumping. So this was the place where they cook and prepare some food. Over here, men are drinking beer and other exotic drinks, and over there you see all the women dancing. By dancing and singing, the women support the boy. The energy in the dance signified encouragement and faith in his success. The dancing and singing by the women also contribute to the overall festive mood of the ceremony. On this evening, before the jumping, many different rituals and steps are performed. One of the most intense parts of the ceremony involves the woman provoking the boy to whip them. It's a way for the women to show their loyalty to the boy. The scars they receive from this act are seen as symbolic expressions of devotion and loyalty to the initiate and his family. By enduring the pain, the women show their love and support. and the scars become a lifelong testament to their sacrifice and commitment. There's one big difference between the Banna and Hammer. The Banna are, as you might say, somewhat more modern. They are more exposed to modern civilization than the Hammer, and that is why the whipping ceremony is not as brutal anymore as with the Hammer. After the whipping, everybody dances the whole night for the rest of the evening. And now here's a big difference to all other tribes in the Omo Valley. The Hammer and Banna have sex before marriage, and this evening is like a big dating event. Special dances are performed where women challenge men and thus reveal their interest. Later that night, we saw couples disappearing into the bush everywhere. The next morning starts again with lots of dancing and singing. Suddenly the cows came, were prepared and finally lined up. Meanwhile, the boy was getting ready and looked a bit nervous.
So this morning, after all celebrations, the boy jumps over the bulls to become a man. So he needs to jump 4 times over the bulls, but to show he's capable and to show his strength, he's going up on top of it and goes back. This shows that he is capable to do more than 4 jumps.
He succeeded and officially became a man.
So now he's a man and allowed to marry. So during the next 4 weeks he will search for his wife, and also during these 4 weeks he needs to fast. So what is he allowed to drink and eat during fasting? He is allowed to drink milk, blood, eat meat and honey. Those 4 things.
Oh, and by the way, if he fails the ceremony, he's not allowed to marry.
So we now drove a little bit further after the bull jumping, and we will visit the local market. And it's a big market, so people from all around the villages come and sell their cattle, fruits, vegetables. People do a lot of agriculture here, so they all come here and trade and sell their things.
The Hammer and Banna have a range of traditional practices that revolve around their cattle, which play a central role in their economy and culture. Cattle are not only a symbol of wealth, but also deeply integrated into various rituals and ceremonies. One of the lesser known practices is consuming fresh blood taken from their cattle. Here's a closer look at this practice. Typically, a small incision is made via bow and arrow in the cow's neck to draw blood, ensuring that the cow is not seriously harmed in the process. The blood is then stirred and drunk right away, often mixed with milk and consumed as a nutrient-rich cocktail. Beyond the nutritional aspects, the consumption of blood holds ritual significance. It's often associated with specific ceremonies or rites of passage. Oh, and I went looking after the cow afterwards, and she seemed to be fine. After we spent a lot of time with the Banna, we drove further towards Turmi and saw these Banna kids on the street. Then we continued on a dirt road until we reached the village of the Karo people. Who are the Karo people? As you can see, many of the men were drunk, so that he couldn't explain his tribe.
Karo means we have three. The one of Ivory.
The Karo tribe is one of the smallest tribes in the Omo Valley, and only around 1,000 Karos are left. They reside primarily along the east banks of the Omo River. The Karo are particularly famous for their body and face painting, which they practice regularly. The body paint designs are often symmetrical and are intended to enhance an individual's beauty or signify important events or statuses. Along with the body paint, the Karo use a plethora of adornments such as necklaces and bracelets to decorate themselves. One significant event is the Pilla, also bull jumping. Lots of their traditions are similar to the Hama tribe. Our visit was pretty intense. Keeping their distance is really a foreign thing for them. I've rarely had so many people around me, and everybody touches you and tugs at you. After a long day, we slept in Turmi and enjoyed some nice food. In Turmi, we walked along the dry riverbed in the morning and saw a Hama woman digging in the riverbed for water for their goats. There are a few Western water projects, but water can be a rare source for the tribes. Next, we headed to the small market for some grocery shopping. We are now on the way to the last tribe we will visit on this trip.
So we now arrived here in Omorati, and in order to visit the Dassenach village, you need to check in first with the immigration office because they live opposite of the Omo River here in the Omo Valley, which is very close to the Kenyan border. So that's why you first need to check in with the immigration office.
After getting permission, we crossed the river the classical way via a small boat. And we got already lots of followers on our way to the village.
We are now here in the village of the Dassenach people, and you can see most of the women and small market and children behind me. The men are out with the cattle, so it's mainly the women and the children, and they now start with a little dance ceremony.
Their huts, called daza, are dome-shaped and made from a framework of branches covered with hides and woven boxes. Typically 6 to 7 people live in one hut. We were invited to one and it was boiling inside. Everyone is wearing colorful necklaces. Otherwise, they are not really dressed, mainly with a scarf around their hips and naked at the top. They are also known for their colorful headgear from thousands of tiny beads. As with many tribes in the region, scarification is practiced amongst both men and women for beautification and to mark various rites of passage.
Bye bye!
Bye bye.
Alright guys, that's it. I hope you liked this video about the tribes of the Omo Valley and stay tuned for our next adventures.